Okay, so I think in the first class we extensively spoke about how 5 elements impact human aura or energy, and how this the house or the living space has 5 elements, and how it is interacting with the human body. Okay, so this we dealt with in detail. So now what we'll do in the second class is we will try to deep dive into each elements, because this is very important, because when we are trying to map any defects in the house, no, so we should be able to correlate the defect to the problem which we are facing. Okay. So these are the 5 elements. So I think we already spoke in the first class. The water element, then we have the air element. We also call it wood element, because in Chinese terminology, no, they use it as a wood element, because the tree or the wood has air element. So, and the colors what they take is green and brown. Okay, so then we have the fire element, earth element, and space or akash is also called metal, because the metallic configuration, no, it exactly has the same like a space configuration. The electrons, the neutrons, the electrons moving around the nucleus, right? So it is exactly the same as we have in the space or the universe. So that's why we call that, they call that as a metal element. Then we have colors and shapes. So what we'll do is we'll deep dive into each element one by one. Okay. So in this slide, what I have done is, see, water, wherever you find blue color and black color, so it corresponds to the water element. For example, you have a blue color paint on a wall. So this corresponds to water element. For example, in your kitchen, you use this black this countertop, granite or something. So this black color is a water element. So most of them know, they generally people use black granite in the kitchen, but kitchen is a fire element, and this using black there is actually it's an anti element, because in the fire, in the place of fire, no, water should not appear. So this we will further deep dive when we are going into this cycle of creation and cycle of destruction. Okay. So this is just for identifying the elements. So then shape. So if you see anything as a wavy shape, no, it corresponds to water, because you have seen, no, the waves on the water is like this. So some people, you would have seen some paint textures they would have done like this wavy textures on the wall. So that will correspond to water element. Maybe some artifacts or some interior decoration items they would have kept. If it is in this wavy shape, so then it is corresponding to the water element. So also metals. So each metals also have a element. So whatever aluminum objects, if you place, no, if you use it, so this will correspond to the water element. And direction, generally, north direction is considered as a water element. Like major water elements are in the north direction, north of northeast, slightly towards northeast, half of northeast. So all these directions are predominantly water elements. Okay. So now what we'll understand is about the nature of water element. So if it is balanced in the house, what will be the result? If it is imbalanced, what will be the result? Okay. So generally the nature is, you know, right, the water flows. So that continuity, the flow, the clarity. Okay. So it will also give new ideas, new opportunities also, because when you pour water, the tree or the plant grows, right? So whenever it is balanced, so it will give good growth also. Alternately, you can say it is giving you good opportunities. Okay. Then water is also an element for immunity, body health, body immunity, right? So if the water is balanced, so your immunity will be very good, and it'll give you a good healthy body. Also, it has a healing energy, the water element, if it is balanced. So attributes of a balanced water element are, so one is it will give good opportunities, then good money flow and immunity. So generally, no, even in astrology, we correspond moon or water element to money. So here also we can take it as money corresponds directly to water element. So if somebody is facing any kind of money flow issues, lack of opportunities, so these kind of issues, no, then we can, at least on a macro level, we can say, okay, there is a water imbalance, or the water element is imbalanced in this particular house. The major Vastu defect, or if somebody is frequently having health issues, immunity issues, respiratory issues. So all these kind of issues, no, it will directly correlate to the water element imbalance. So straight away you can say, okay, the water element is imbalanced, so you have to balance this to set this right. Okay. So just checking if when we are recording. So this is all about water element. So any doubts or something in this? We'll further deep dive. See, when we go to zones, no, each zone has a different element and different attributes. So we will further deep dive. This is again at a macro level because we are talking only about 5 elements. Okay, so when we enter into the different zones, because we have 16 zones, so each zone has a particular attribute, a particular element. So there we will further deep dive. Okay. So here, anything wavy, even if you have a curtain, if you have put a curtain there and that waviness in the curtain, no, that also depicts the water element. And if suppose you put a curtain at home which is blue in color, so that is also water element, or a black color, so that is also water element. So why we need to identify is it is easy to track the defect. Maybe you have some dining table which is a black shaded. We get all these metal ones, right, which are colored. So maybe if it is in a wrong zone, then you can easily identify, okay, water element is coming in a wrong zone, so we have to eliminate this or move it from that place. So aluminum, see, nowadays you would have seen most of the apartments, no, majority, now it is all UPVC. Just before UPVC, they used to use a lot of aluminum fabricated windows, doors. And now some new trend is there wherein in kitchens also, no, they have come up with stainless steel kitchens, aluminum kitchens, and all this. So actually, aluminum kitchens are a big no-no in the kitchen because that is predominantly a fire zone, and you're introducing a water element, which is an anti-element for fire zone. Okay, so all these help us to identify the problems or the problems in the respective areas of the zones. So now we will get into any doubts. Otherwise, I can proceed to the next element, because this understand in depth about all the elements, then it will be easy for you to drill down on the problems. Okay. Okay. So now, okay, this I already told, right? It predominantly depicts the north direction. So then we have the air element. So air element generally we consider two colors, green and brown, because if you would have seen a tree, no, the leaves are green in color and the branches and the roots are all brown in color. Okay, so there is one mistake here. This is wood element, not metal. So we call it either air element or wood element. Wood is a Chinese terminology. They call it as wood, and we in Indian metaphysics we call it as air element. So and the shape is generally rectangular. So if you have any objects which are rectangular in shape, it could be a dining table, rectangular dining table. It could be some wall hanging, which is like a photo. So all these will depict air element shapes. And if you use a stainless steel object, so those are all air elements. So nowadays you would have seen a lot of railings. They do a lot of stainless steel railings inside the for the staircase. The side railings will all be in stainless steel. So these are all corresponding to air element. And the main direction for air element is east. Okay, so what air element depicts? Generally, if you see the nature now, it depicts growth. Like the tree, it depicts growth, then movement, fun, joy, happiness. So all these attributes in the house. Generally, this falls between the east northeast zone. So east northeast to east, these zones are all associated with this. And it also gives you association to different society, generally connections. So you will be able to establish connections with people. So that is one attribute of this air element. So generally, if somebody is not unable to interact with people, or they have problems with neighbors, so all these will indicate the air element is imbalanced. So, so if you look at the balanced state, it will give you the courage to try new things, take risks. So give good connections. Connections means generally associations with other people. Also, no, in terms of government, because East also depicts government, no, in the direction for sun, and all government related connects to this direction. So if you have some strong East zone and air element, so any kind of government connections you can easily establish. Okay, so in the imbalanced state, it will give you stubbornness, excess anger. So you will have issues with neighbors. You'll always be fighting with them. Then you will have a feeling of stuck, or your life is getting stalled. Okay, in terms of health, it will give you joint pains, skin infections. So generally, those Vata disorders we say, right, in Ayurvedic, they say Vata disorders. So whatever is corresponding to Vata disorder, so all these issues it can give. So it can give you arthritis. So Vata, it can also give you anxiety issues, because it's all Vata, no? Everything is connected to air element. So these kind of issues it can give. Okay, so this is about the air element. So then we will go to the fire element. Okay, so fire element, we generally depict the color will be red and the shape is triangle. So any triangular shape you see, no, especially not the inverted triangle, this triangle upward. So you also have this kind of a triangle, that is not the fire. The upward triangle we consider as a fire element. And the metal is copper. So generally nowadays there is a trend, no, using all copper utensils for water. Everywhere we are using. Even there are some copper coated water purifiers. So many things have come into. So these are all element. Okay, so direction is predominantly south. Actually, southeast also is fire, but major fire is in the south direction. So that is why we consider south as the fire element. Also, Mars is the zone. Mars planet is corresponding to south. So Mars is also generally the fire. This thing. Is somebody trying to join and we are unable to, because he's getting some calls. Oh, so yeah, correct. He's trying to join. So maybe you guys also can give approval, like if to see who is trying to join. Okay. Okay, so what will happen if the fire element is balanced? So you will have good cash liquidity. So generally, if you see, no, fire is also directly connected to cash, but it's only liquid cash. Because some people might be having assets in terms of monetary, they might be having a lot of immovable assets, but that is more of water element. But the day-to-day usage cash which we use, right? So those all are related to fire element. So it will give you a sense of protection, a good zeal in life, be passion. So it will give you good confidence, enthusiasm in life. So all these are fire element, nature of fire elements. So if it is balanced, it will give you good fame and recognition. Then it will give you good power, confidence. Power also indicates good health, sound sleep. So relationships also within the family, within even with outsiders. So it will all be harmonious. So this is if it is balanced. So if it is imbalanced, no, it can give some accidents. So some people very frequently they will have some fire accidents at home, miscarriages. It can also give theft. So some thefts happening. So some kind of paranormal activity also some people can feel. So this is very subjective, because even though the fire element is very weak, only if that person maybe there are 5 members in the family and only one person has a very weak constitution of fire, and he might experience some paranormal activity, like there is somebody walking in the house, some noise. So all these are problems of fire element. So weak fire. So then there'll be fearful, introvert. So financial issues and lack of auspicious events. So generally, the business, because south, this direction of fire and south indicates mainly business related zones. So you will have not much opportunities in business. Then even marriage associations, if somebody is looking for alliances, so they might not get marriage alliances. So in terms of health, it can give you acidity and indigestion issues. So more of pitta, no? They say in Ayurveda, pitta prakriti. So more of pitta related issues it can give. Then we will go to earth element. So earth element, we depict with yellow color and the shape is square. So there in the air element, we had rectangle. Here it is. And the metal is brass. So you would have seen a lot of brass artifacts they use, right? So wherever brass elements are used, so it is all earth element. Generally, all these puja items, many things they use, right? Brass. Some people also use this brass bells, chains, and all that. No? And nowadays, a lot of sculptures, artifacts are also more done using brass. Okay, so these are all earth element. And with respect to direction, the center or the Brahmastan and the diagonals, the northeast to southwest and southeast to northwest. That diagonal, those two diagonals are corresponding to earth element. Because from the center, from the Brahmastan, the energy starts, the earth energy will get created and it grows. So when it grows, it predominantly spreads towards the diagonals. On the sides also it has, but it is little lesser. But at diagonals, it is more. So the nature of earth is, it will give you good stability, balance. It gives you patience, maturity. So it also gives you material possessions. So if you look at chakra system, the first day we spoke about. So the root chakra or the basic chakra, right? The first chakra. So it is connected to earth element. So if that chakra is balanced, it will give you material possessions. Means you can acquire more wealth. You can. So similarly, if the earth element is balanced in the house, so it will attract more wealth. So it will also help in career stability, relationship stability, and peace and harmony with everybody. So if it is, it can give laziness, so lethargy, some energy drain kind of. So in people who are working in jobs, it can give a job insecurity. Then for marriage also, you might not get alliances. So in the family also, there will be a lot of disputes and expenditure, especially with respect to money. There will be a lot of you will be spending money on waste, not useful things. Okay. This is one of the attribute if it is imbalanced. So then Akash, space or Akash. So this, they also call it as metal in Chinese terminology. So mainly because we discussed earlier also that metals have that space configuration. Each atom has that exact space configuration. So they also call it as metal. So colors, space element, generally it is white. So even light gray shades also you can take it as space. Even silver color also we can take it as space. And shapes generally round. So wherever you find round shapes, so these are all space elements. And the metal is iron or mild steel. Iron means you can see the old the cast iron which they use, and also mild steel. So if you look at air element, stainless steel was air element. So in Akash, it is mild steel. And the direction is west. Also, west direction is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also is directly connected to iron metal. So if space elements is what all it gives is, it gives expansion, good communication, and your thought thought process also will be very clear. So it will give new ideas. So your knowledge also expansion, because if you look at the west direction, no, west of southwest, so that is the area for knowledge, skill, learning, and all that. So that's why it's directly connected to the knowledge areas. Then another important feature of this space element or the west direction is gains and profits. So generally in business, no, it will give you good gains and profits. So if this element, this zone is balanced, so you can have good business growth. So if it is in a balanced state, you can take charge of your own destiny. So it will give a sense of direction, ability. That means you will have the clarity. Okay, this is how I have to get excel in the business. This is how I have to grow the business. So you'll be self-reliant with ideas, and it will be easy for you to take decisions and grow in the business. Okay, so this field is also connected to knowledge and creative ideas. And another important feature is it will whatever efforts you're putting, no, so you will get rewards equal to that. See, sometimes many people, they would be putting a lot of efforts, but they might not be getting reward which is equivalent to that efforts. So that if they are facing such a problem, then space element is imbalanced. Okay. So like here we have said, no, not getting due returns for the efforts. So this is one attribute which you can use to detect. So then unable to bring progressive change. So here we spoke about, right, that they'll be able to take charge of their own destiny. So if it is imbalanced, then they'll feel stuck. They'll not have direction, how to move forward and all that. So this is about Akash. Okay, so next is we have two more topics, cycle of creation and cycle of destruction. So before we get into this, any doubts in these we can just have some quick questions and then we can move ahead. Just one, let me. Okay. So if we are using a round dining table now, so you would have seen many different types of dining table. Some people use round, square, rectangle. So round dining table, which element does it depict? Somebody is using that round table. I think all are on mute. Except for Nagaraj sir, everybody is on mute. So we just saw, no, just so space element. So whenever you see, you would have seen in dining area, if the dining area, generally it is supposed to be in the west direction dining as per Vastu. So if you're using a round shape, then it is more balanced. So if you are using a rectangle one, then it is not balanced, because that is an air element and it is an anti-element for space. Okay. So this we will see how it is how elements are anti and how it is supported in the next two concepts. Now we will see this. Okay. Okay. So imagine we have a triangular shaped sculpture or maybe a clock. So somebody would have put a triangle clock. So what element you will identify it with?
Fire element.
Fire element, yes. So generally you would have seen, no, clocks, because nowadays the trend is there doing with different shapes. So you might find oblong shaped ones. So oblong is generally a combination of circle and rectangle. So two elements get mixed. So then you, square clocks you can use. See, actually clock, good direction is east for clocks. So they're rectangle, square, but ideally when you say clocks, no, round is more preferred. Clocks round and with white background, and generally the even the needles, no, if it is either silver color or gold color or steel color, it is so you should never use a clock which is having a red color needles. So it is considered to be an imbalance. So generally round clocks are more advisable. Square and rectangles also you can use, not an issue, but the triangle ones we have to avoid. So you get all kind of fancy shapes: inverted triangle, upward triangle, downward triangle. So all those we need to avoid. See, clock you can keep on any zone, but generally that east, why they say is it will give you associations, it will give you connections with the outside world. There it is good. Even you can put it on the south wall, north wall, all positive directions you can use watches. North also is a very good direction for clocks. So north is predominantly water element, right? So you can put round there, because the space element will support the water element, no? So that you can use. So that concept, in the next concept where we have that cycle of creation, no, there it will be clear for you. So let me start with that. Okay, so now we have this, we know these 5 elements are there. Now in nature, there is an order in which this is getting created. So we say right, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So Brahma is a creator, Vishnu is a sustainer or a balance, he maintains balance, and Shiva is a destructor. So similarly, this 5 elements also we have a cycle. So the creation cycle, first what we'll do is the creation cycle. Okay, so in creation cycle, so always we take water as the first element. Okay, water. So water will create air. So then air will create fire. Fire will create earth. Earth will create space, and then space will create water. So this sequence we have to remember. So whenever we are trying to solve Vastu issues. So how do we easily remember? I will show a picture with a slide with a lot of picture representations. It will be easy for you to remember. Okay. So first you can take it. You can consider space first. So you have the sky. So from the sky, when you say sky, this is space element, metal or sky or space, whatever. So this is the first element, space element. So from the sky, you have rainfall. So rainfall, what it will do is it will fill the land with water, either pond or river or whatever. So that means you can say sky or space element, it created water element. So now you have water in the pond or the water body, right? So once we have the water, okay, so with water, the trees will grow. Okay, so now tree, we had considered this as an air element, right? Air or wood element. So now water will create air. So you can remember this, like pictorially, it is easy to remember the sequence. So then once you have the wood, so when you cut the wood and fire it, so the wood is creating the fire element. So after wood, fire comes. So now you would have seen in the earth, the lava is there, right? Okay. So this fire, it is inside the earth. So you can say, okay, after fire, you have the earth, and this lava or whatever molten material, it solidifies and becomes metal. Metal is again nothing but space. So these two are same. So this cycle, it keeps continuing. So this is only for, there is no actual attribute like this, but just to remember, it is easy to quickly remember. Okay, so the sequence is generally like this: space, water, air or wood, fire, earth, and then again back to metal. So this sequence is nothing but the cycle what you saw here. So generally we say, and why and how we use this, apply this in Vastu is, suppose imagine we have an air element. So in the plan, you try to map, right? So we generally, what we do is we map the plan and we split it into different zones. And we find that, okay, this air element is weak in this particular zone, whichever zone. For example, here is in east, it is weak. So how do you improve it? You can add some water element. Since water is creating air, this air element, the quantity or the amount of air element increases. Because when you add water, right, it automatically helps growing air element, right? So this is, we can say, parent-child relationship. So whenever we have something imbalanced, when air is less, so we add water to increase air. Suppose imagine the air element is excess. In particular zone, air element has to be balanced, but it is imbalanced by excess. Two kind of imbalances can occur. One is it is less, the other it is more. So if it is less, we use water to balance it. If it is more, you add some fire element in that zone, which will actually suck this air element, because air is feeding to fire, right? So it will extinguish the air element and bring it to balance. So now air element, which was excess, becomes balanced. So this fire element which you have added, it will remove the excess air. So this is how we, this approach is what we use for balancing elements in the space. Okay, so that is why this cycle of creation you have to remember. So as soon as you feel, okay, somewhere some earth element is very weak, so then you start adding fire elements, it will increase the earth element. So how you can increase fire element, that we will, in the next sessions, we will see how to increase. So one is you can add shapes of fire, you can add colors of fire. Okay, so you can add metals of fire. Okay, so those are different techniques which we use to increase the fire in those particular zones. Okay, so that's why this cycle of creation is it's a foundation for remedies. Okay, this is same, but that was a little bit difficult to understand, so I just put it in that. Okay, now we also have a cycle of destruction. Now Shiva will come into picture. So there we saw Brahma. So finally, the idea is to bring it into balance, the Vishnu state, I would say. So here destruction, what happens is whenever there is a fire element and you bring in some water element, no, this water will extinguish fire. This we already know, right? If there is a fire, and we generally use water to put off the fire. So especially in the kitchen, so kitchen is known to be the fire zone. In kitchen, if you introduce any kind of water element, no. So one common defect what we have found is in kitchen they use black granite. So black granite is water element. So generally fire becomes weak there. Okay. So this is one anti color. Similarly, air, if you air can extinguish or it can destruct the earth element. Similarly, space, this earth can distinguish or reduce the water element. So what generally we would have seen is in north. So water is north zone. In north zone, they would have added some storage. Earth is nothing but mass, right? Earth is mass. You would have either put storage or somebody would have done a wall cladding with stone. So generally nowadays the trend is there, right? On walls, they put stone cladding. So stone cladding is nothing but earth element. So in north wall, they would have put this and they will be facing some issues. So ideally, in modern Vastu, what we have to do is when we visit a house, we have to note down all the things which they are using in the house. You have to break down into which element it is. So then you will be able to solve it. See, because many things are new. So wall cladding we never used inside houses in the earlier days. Now modern houses, they have different trends. So finally, the only way how we can solve it is we have to break down it into these fundamental 5 elements, then correlate it and solve it. Because we will not get anywhere saying that, okay, this is a stone cladding, so this is earth element. So all those we will not get it. So we have to be strong in this foundation or the basics of the 5 elements. And using this knowledge, we have to decipher by ourselves. For example, imagine there is a water tank. So water tank, if it is below the ground, that is not considered as a water element. It is considered as a earth element because you are storing the water. So whenever storage comes, anything you store is a earth element. Similarly, the water on the overhead tank also, no, that is also an earth element. It is not a water element. So like this. So we will have to decipher. Imagine you have some motor. So motor which is pumping the water. So that motor is actually an air element because you have that churning, right? It is pumping in that process of churning and rotation is an air element. So like that, you have to break down into deep dive and break it into small elements and then decipher it. Okay, so this is about destruction. Okay, so these two, cycle of creation and cycle of destruction, no, this you have to kind of, it should get inculcated into you. By default, you should be knowing, okay, this is the next water, this destructs, water destructs fire, air, space destructs air. So all these, it's like a Bahat, it has to come Bahat. So that's why I gave you this analogy where you can easily remember. And while solving, it will become easier for you to remember. So the idea is in all the zones, we have to bring a balance between all the elements. Okay, so that is the idea. So now predominantly we were dealing with these 5 elements, right? In next class, what we will do is we will, maybe 4th session, we will have that mapping of directions. Maybe session 3, what I will do is we will go with entrances. So we have 32 entrances to the house. So effects of all these entrances. So if the entrance is in north zone, north 1, what is the effect? So north 3, what is the effect? So we will go with that. But by then I need somebody who can come with their plan and we can work on that plan rather than I giving some random saying, okay, this defect, that defect, we can solve live, right, with practical this thing. So if somebody has their plan handy, so we can use that. And directions we can map from the Google Earth. Google Earth Pro we can use and map the directions. So any doubts with respect to cycle of creation and cycle of destruction?
Shobit, can we use a mechanical clock? That is the clock which has been
okay. So if you understood, see, nowadays a lot of digital clocks have come up. So generally, it is not advisable to use digital clock or even the digital wristwatch. So wristwatch also, what we say is generally you have to use analog watches. So digital, some people can use who are mainly into trading business, somebody who is doing a lot of, or somebody who is into electronics business, somebody who is into generally the mercury related fields, right? So whoever is into that, they can use, or if at all you want to use, you can use it only during your like sports activity or you are going for some jogging, walking or gym or something. So that 1 hour probably you can use those digital watches. But after that, generally you should use analog watches. So even the wall clocks, it has to be analog, the mechanical clocks.
Okay.
See, 100% Vastu. See, this is also a very tricky thing. In olden, see, there are a lot of myths in Vastu. They say, right, if you build a house in square plot, it will be fully balanced. Everything is balanced. Everything is going smooth. But that is not how life has to be, right? It should be a mix of challenges and so you cannot have, then it will be a saintly life, right? You can instead go to Himalayas, sit and become a yogi. So this is more of Kali Yuga, and what we need is if somebody is not pushing you, your recording, it is showing now recording and transcription. I don't hope it is all got recorded. So if somebody is pushing you to earn money only, you will push, right? You will go and work and earn, right? If I'm like sitting like a saint and like a Babaji, okay, nowadays they also make money, but the idea is there should be an imbalanced state. You cannot have a perfect, you can make, if you want to make, no, what you have to do is you have to make a circle house with all zones equal, all activities, everything equal, but then you will not prosper materialistically. Okay, spiritually you can prosper, materialistically you cannot prosper. So that is how it is. You can create. See, agricultural lands also we spoke, right? See, Vastu for home is different. Vastu for temples is different. Vastu for industrial or offices is different. Agricultural lands, since it is not, there is no boundary and there is no, see, everything is open air. Only when you build walls and make a boundary, then you have all these Vastu zones getting created within the space. So agricultural lands, there is no such Vastu being followed. Even if, see, randomly everybody will put Vastu everywhere, but it has to be specific to the activity. Like I said, no, for industrial, see, in industry, you don't have a kitchen. You don't, maybe they have pantry, but not the actual kitchen or bedroom or living room or TV room and all that. So we don't have. So there, it is all activity based. So there is a sales department, there is a manufacturing unit, then there is some storage unit where materials are stored. Like that, there are multiple tasks. So it is all more of based on activity based. We have to map it, and it again you cannot universally say this is general. Like it differs from industry to industry. Suppose you want to build a hospital, so we cannot make predefined rules, right? In industrial Vastu, hospital has a different Vastu. So each industrial or business or whatever it is, it has different kind of Vastu. For example, hospital we said, right? If the entrance is in northeast zone, it will do very good business because that is a zone for healing. So whoever sets up that kind of entrance, they'll be able to heal people nicely and they get good results. So like that, for each type of business, it is slightly different. So we have to customize. So that's why when we say Vastu, no, you have to build your fundamentals strong so that you can apply it to anything. See, the main difference between modern science and our shastras, whatever Vedas, whatever we're saying, the science keeps on changing. See, 30 years back, they said diabetes is not curable. Now, like last 3 years, 4 years, they're coming and saying, no, if you're able to maintain your metabolic health, diabetes, you can reverse. So that to what they're saying, just with your dietary changes, you are able to reverse diabetes. But 30 years back, what they said, you cannot, you have lifelong, you have to take medicine for diabetes, we cannot cure it. So maybe another 20 years from now, they will come back and say something else. Or they might come back and say, okay, we have discovered a new pill, you take it for 3 months, your diabetes will go. So like this, when you say science, it keeps changing with time, but Shastras, it is timeless. So 5,000 years ago also it was same, 5,000 years after also it will be same. So whatever these fundamentals are there, no, even after 5,000 years, you will still be able to map, okay, this is this element, this is that element, though things are changing dynamically. So that is how it is.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if you have no more questions, maybe we can close the session.